What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Moy Diaz Combat Pubcast. It is Thursday, March 12th, and we have UFC Fight Night this weekend. I'm going to run down that card. But before I get to that, I want to go over some other things that I've missed in the last couple of days. We had the big press conference between Rhonda Rousey, Gina Carano, and the added co-main event, which broke 2 days ago when I broke it, that Francis Ngannou, the lineal heavyweight mixed martial arts champion of the world, is taking on Felipe Lins. Most people don't know who Felipe Lins was. Like, I had to even go back and look up his record. The only thing that I did remember was that he was the 2018 PFL Open Tournament champion, heavyweight Open Tournament champion. Shortly after that, he was in Bellator before then, had a decent run in Bellator, went to the PFL, won the tournament, and then he was signed to the UFC as a heavyweight. He lost his two first fights at heavyweight. Man, I just looked up the names. But he lost his first two fights. Andre Arlovsky was his first loss. Then he had another loss at heavyweight. Then he dropped down to more of his natural weight at 205. And then he won four fights in a row. Was not cut, but just took 2 years off after that 4-fight win streak in the UFC. And then he said he was just taking times off, working on his family, working on his game. And then he got the call from MVP out of nowhere to take on the lineal heavyweight champion and Francis Ngannou on Netflix. So it was a huge blessing for him. So that fight has been made for the co-main event, and more fights will be added to that event. But the press conference was pretty good. It wasn't fast and short like the UFC has been doing their press conferences lately. You know, when we think of at least me, when I think of the UFC press conferences that we used to love, was probably like the 16 through 19 era, the 2015s. And of course, that was because it was Conor McGregor on top of the world, just holding court in these hour-long press conferences, just talking shit, shooting shade at everyone. You know, the Nate Diaz press conferences, the Chad Mendes press conferences, the Jose Aldo press conferences, all those big press conferences, the John Jones, Daniel Cormier's, like, that's when the UFC, I believe, hit the pinnacle of its time. And now lately they've been like very short, 20, 30-minute press conferences with the stare downs and everything. So this was a good breath of fresh air. This was about an hour long. Ariel Helwani was the host of the press conference. Rhonda and Gina both look great. Gina Carano is still a fucking smoking gun, man. She is nice, very nice. Rhonda didn't look bad either. And look, I've had my differences with Rhonda Rousey. It was more so of her when she was, just the face of the UFC, talking a huge game. I knew she was good. I mean, she was a judo bronze medalist. She was tearing through all these girls, but I just never felt like she was just the very tip of the spear. Like, I didn't think she was the very best. And when she ran into people or girls like Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, I was proved right. She just wasn't at that level. And I don't know if it was because of all the other things she had going on outside of MMA with the acting and everything else, and, just this high profile lifestyle that she was living because of her success. But she's really starting to wear me down, and I can see why. I knew she was always a superstar, but now I can see why. She talks very open and bluntly, which I can appreciate. But the talks that when they were asked about the UFC and everything and why they didn't happen there, she was very open and honest and very loyal to Dana White. Like, she said this fight, she took it to Dana White first, and that they offered a very, very, very good deal to fight Gina, but they wanted it to happen on the very last card of the pay-per-view pay scale before they had switched over to the Paramount deal. That wasn't able to happen because Gina was not going to be ready in time. She was going through a lot of things the last year and a half, 2 years. She needed time to get ready. She wanted to bring Rhonda her best, which every fighter wants that. You want to beat the best of your opponent. And then it moved into the Paramount deal. They restructured her and gave her a new offer that wasn't sufficient enough in her eyes, which I believe her. And she wanted to make the most money for her and Gina. And she said she went to Dana and was like, look, I've got another offer at MVP. They're offering me this much. And she wanted to be very open with him. And she said that Dana was like, listen, go do that. Make the most money you possibly can. Don't let me hold you back with this deal that we have here. So she said she had his blessing, which is very good to hear, man. Like, it's very loyal. We get to see that side of Dana White. You know, usually it's always Dana White doesn't give a shit. He's lowballing everyone, which still might be true. But as far as when it comes to Rhonda, he's always taken care of her. She's always been a big proponent of his. And she said that she had his blessing to move forward with this venture. And I'm glad that that happened. You know, unfortunately, it wasn't able to happen with other people. Like Frances talked about it later on in that press conference. But that was good to see. And I really like seeing her talk in that way, you know, because it makes me feel like she is a human being. Because before, I was always on her about just being so over the top, but what she still can be. But it's different now. I think she's matured more. She's a mother. And now she's getting back to the thing that she loves to do. And she mentioned that in the press conference that for a while, she had kind of put a guard around her when it came to mixed martial arts. She had fell out of love with it because of how it ended in the UFC before, which I can appreciate. Like, fighters, like, we're in this game for so long, and this is all we do. This is all we know. And then there can come a time where it's just, it's a beat down, you know, mentally, physically, you just get burnt out. And it takes something, a new test or a new event or a new whatever it is to get those juices going again, you know. It happened to me. I got really burnt out, and then I had found, I was really all in my jiu-jitsu, and I was winning tournaments. And then, you know, I had got approached to do a last Muay Thai fight, and that really got me going, and it really brought the love that I have for Muay Thai and martial arts in general back to life. And then I went out and had the greatest performance of my career. And I didn't know at the time it was going to be my last one because it was right before COVID. But then it turned out that it was my last one. But I could hang my hat and be like, you know what, if that was going to be my last one, at least I got to do it my way, and I did it the best way I could. And it was my best performance of my career. So I'm glad that they're coming, that Rhonda went through that. And now we're going to get to see her and Gina Carano give the best of themselves to each other. And they're very friendly, very cordial, which is good to see as well. Like, we don't always need over-the-top things to sell a fight. But it was a great press conference. I really like what Francis Ngannou came out, and he said, you know, I'm glad that the MVP's here now. Did I ever see myself being here? He said, absolutely not. He goes, but I'm glad that I'm in a position that as a fighter, he goes, we are general contractors. We go and fight and we do our job. And then if we're open to have another fight with that certain promoter, then we can. And if there's something better on the other side of the horizon, then we should go do that. He goes, I don't like that people are getting locked into contracts. He goes, because of the John Jones situation now, that he was getting lowballed. He goes, I thought he should have got that $30 million. He goes, but now he's going to be stuck, and the UFC is going to jerk him around, and he doesn't have the freedom to come off and do something else. He goes, you know, if he would have got signed to MVP, and there's a possibility of a huge mega fight between the greatest of all time and John Jones and the lineal heavyweight champion and Francis Ngannou, that'd be a massive fight, a huge, massive fight, which I think everyone would watch. That might be one fight that could surpass the views that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul had, you know. That would be enormous. So that was all in all, great interview. Oh, and last before I wrap that up, Jake Paul asked Francis Ngannou what he thought about the fight and what he thought about fighting him. And Francis, in less words than what he actually said, he was like, I didn't want to fight you because I didn't think you were even on my level. But it was after Jake Paul threw a jab at Francis, saying that he was just mad because Jake Paul went longer in the fight with Anthony Joshua than he did, that he felt some type of way about it. And Francis said, let me make it be clear. I don't want to fight you. I want to beat the shit out of you. So if that happens, I'm going to beat you up. And that's that. He's like, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. So that was Francis, and that was the wrap up pretty much of that whole press conference. It was it was a solid press conference. One of the better ones I've seen lately. On to the next thing. There was the Hype Brazil event in Brazil last night. Armin Sarukian chokes Muhammad Makayev out cold. He gets the victory. Great performance. He calls out Charles Oliveira after. I think that'd be an amazing grappling match. I mean, the fight between them two in the UFC was great on its own. But to see just a pure grappling match, I'd be very interested in it. I'm a big, like I've said before, I'm first degree jiu-jitsu and black belt, or first degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I really appreciate the grappling game, especially when it's at that high level. I think that'd be a great grappling match between Armin and Charles. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, you never know with these days, with all these guys going to like organizations like this. Hype Brazil, RAF does a great job. I'm really loving everything that RAF is doing. And then we had Shara Bullet was grappling against Prates. That ended in a draw. And then we had Bryce Mitchell grapple Jean Silva, and that ended in a draw. There was some like hype backstage, and it's online, where you see that Jean Silva goes to shake Bryce Mitchell's hand, and Bryce Mitchell slaps his cup out of his hand, and then they get to like a little scuffle, which it looked pretty set up. But I mean, it's okay. They're trying to do what they can to sell the match, right? But that's pretty much how Hype Brazil went. It was pretty decent. The next thing down, the betting lines for Dana White versus Eddie Hearn have come out in a boxing match. And Eddie Hearn opens as a big favorite, minus 300 in this in this made-up fight. Eddie Hearn is 6'5". He's 46 years old. Dana White's 56, so 10 years his elder. Stands 5'11". He opened at plus 200. I saw somebody ask him, Eddie Hearn, on an interview earlier this week, and he goes, if you ask me how it goes, he goes, I think I get Dana White out of there within 3 rounds, and I think I knock him spark out. So Eddie Hearn, always the showman, always the businessman, always the promoter. So that's the opening lines for this made-up fight that has not been agreed to or not disagreed to. So last thing before I jump into the UFC Fight Night card, Cain Velasquez put up video for the first time since he's been released, which happened at the end of last month, the beginning of this month. So it's been a few weeks. He just wanted to say that he was thanking for everyone who reached out, who supported him through this long journey. He's very happy to be home. You know, it's taken him a little bit to get used to regular life again. You know, after he's been locked up for over a year, I bet you it's very difficult to readjust to normal life, especially when you're locked up, that you are on a schedule, you know when to eat, you know when to sleep, you know when you have to do this, do that. It can get very, what do they call it? When you get very institutionalized to a certain way. So now him be free at home with his kids, with his wife. Very glad to see him. We can always use good news in the world, especially in the days that we're living in now. So, but other than that, I'm going to jump into the UFC Fight Night rundown. The main event, it's gonna be this Saturday at the Metapex, the Meta Apex in Las Vegas. The main event is Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos, or as the Argentines say it, Kevin Vallejos, which I don't understand why, but that's just how they talk down there. I was looking down this, and I hadn't even looked at the betting lines yet. I'm gonna pull them up as I run down this, but before I even took a pick or looked at the odds, I'm looking at Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. Kevin Vallejos is 3-0 in his last 3. He beat Sang-Won Choi by KO, Danny Silva by unanimous decision, and Giga Chikadze by KO. Those are his last 3. And then I look at Josh Emmett. He's kind of been up and down. He's 2-4 in his last 6. But his last 6, he beats Calvin Kattar by split decision. He loses to Yair Rodriguez for the interim title by submission via triangle second round. His next fight, he loses unanimous decision to the reigning 2-division champion, Ilia Topuria. He is the last guy who has taken Ilia Topuria to the 5th round or to a decision in his last 4 fights. You know, because outside of Ilia had fought Josh Emmett, took him to decision. Then he sparks out Volkanovski. Then he sparks out Max Holloway. Then he sparks out Charles Oliveira. And now with him versus Gaethje, he's looking like he's going to get another knockout. So that says a lot to the testament of Josh Emmett and how hard he can take a shot, because he got clipped a lot over 5 rounds in that fight. There was multiple times in that 5-round bout that I thought he was just going to get sparked. And Emmett never stopped trying in that fight. So after the Topuria fight, he fights Bryce Mitchell, which was probably the KO of the year. It was probably either that or the Lerone Murphy KO of Aaron Pico. But I'm pretty sure, I think that was the year before. I think he won it because everyone who saw that knockout thought Bryce Mitchell was dead. Like literally dead. It was such a nasty knockout, huge overhand right, and he just goes front face down. And then they cut the feed and then moved it over to the commentators. And Bryce Mitchell, they roll him over, and he is like convulsing, like having a seizure inside the octagon, which they didn't show, but you can find it if you look on YouTube. So he gets the KO win over Bryce Mitchell. His next fight is against Lerone Murphy. He loses a unanimous decision to Lerone Murphy. And then his next fight was versus Yusuf Zalal, which he won a first round, or he lost a first round submission. But that's just the rundown. And then I had to go because I was thinking, man, I think Josh Emmett just has more experience. He's fought by far the higher caliber of opponents compared to Kevin Vallejos. And they have Kevin Vallejos as a minus 550 in this fight. A minus 550 favorite in this fight. They have Josh Emmett at a plus 410 underdog. I like Kevin Vallejos. Josh Emmett is ranked above him. But this is one of those fights where the UFC likes to put one of these young guns that's just coming forward and make a name off Josh Emmett. But Josh Emmett looks good. He says he's been training with TJ Dillashaw now, which is only going to do good things as long as he doesn't pop for any type of, banned substance. I really want to take Josh Emmett. And now I'm like, man, plus 410. Holy crap. Like, that's a hard line to bet, man. But if you win, if Josh Emmett can pull it out by like a knockout, man, plus 410. And Kevin Vallejos does like to strike, but I think if he stays in the pocket with Josh Emmett for long enough, it's only a matter of time that before Emmett's going to land that big right hand, right? I mean, that's my thinking. I don't know if Kevin Vallejos has good enough grappling to get Josh Emmett to the mat like Yusuf Zalal did or like Ilya did a few times. But, I mean, Ilya was boxing his fucking ears off that entire time, and then he changed it up. But, yeah, man, I'm going to lean Josh Emmett on this one. I mean, call me crazy, and he might get smoked 5 rounds to 0, or he might just get outclassed or maybe submitted or knocked out himself. But I think I might have to run with Josh Emmett on this one as a big, big underdog. Josh Emmett for the win. Let's go, Josh Emmett. The co-main event, Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. They have Jillian Robertson opening as the favorite at minus 198. Amanda Lemos plus 164. Jillian Robertson is on a 3-fight win streak. Amanda Lemos is coming off that one-sided loss to Tatiana Suarez. Jillian Robertson has a really good grappling game. She's not afraid to stand up. I don't know if Jillian Robertson's wrestling is as good as Tatiana's, but if she can take a page out of anything that Tatiana did, I think she can get the job done against Amanda Lemos. She is the favorite at minus 198, but I'm still going to go with Jillian Robertson on this one. The next fight down, Ian Cutelaba versus Umar Sy from France. I saw their last 3. I like Umar Sy. And then now I look at it, and he is the favorite, minus 258 over Ian Cutelaba at plus 210. But Cutelaba's a dog, man. He is not afraid to get any type of fist fight, firefight, if that's what happens. I think Umar Sy has got bigger power, but I think that's why I'm going to lean Umar Sy over Ian Cutelaba. Next fight down, Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. I was going to pick Andre Fili on this fight. Just looking at it like, man, maybe I got a feeling Fili has a good chance to win this fight. Delgado has some good wins, but, Fili's fought the bigger names. They have Delgado opening at a minus 380. They have Andre Fili at a plus 300. The over-under is 2.5 rounds in a 3-round fight. Under is minus 195. The over is plus 150. I think a safe bet would be the over at plus 150. I think Andre Fili is just tough as nails, man. And Jose Delgado is going to have to do a lot to put him away. But yeah, I think Delgado will win, but I think take the over at 2.5 at plus 150 would probably be a good bet. Next fight down, Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick from England. I like Marwan Rahiki, and he is the opening favorite at minus 258. You could probably take the under as plus 135. I don't remember Hardwick's last fight, but he's a tough Englishman. Maybe you take the over. They have the over as the favorite at minus 175, so a slight favorite on the over-unders. But I'd go still Marwan Rahiki. The main card, the first fight on the main card, Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplin. I like Petrino. And it just sucks, man, because all the guys that I like are the favorites. And this was even, I had picked these before I looked at the odds. Vitor Petrino is minus 250. The over is minus 160. Probably take the over at 160. That's what I would do. Then the main fight on the prelim card, Charles Johnson versus Bruno Gustavo da Silva. Charles Johnson is coming off a loss, but he just came off that nasty knockout over Lonnie Kavanaugh, who just beat Brandon Moreno. So if you do MMA math, you think Charles Johnson's going to win, but they have Bruno Gustavo as just a slight underdog. I'll go Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson for the win on this one. The next fight was a fight I was surprised to see. Brad Tavares was cut, then he got brought back, but Brad Tavares is taking on your boy, Eric Anders. And Brad Tavares opens as a slight favorite at minus 122. Eric Anders at plus 102. Eric Anders just got knocked out his last fight after coming out that he had been dealing with drug addiction, his issues his entire career. He got himself clean. He comes out, gets knocked out. I'm going to go with Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares is always consistent. He's always in the mix. You know, I think he was in the top 10 for like 10 years, man. This dude just doesn't go away. Or at the top 15 at least. I'm going to go Brad Tavares on this one. The over is minus 215. The under is plus 165. I'd take Brad Tavares straight up at minus 122. This next fight, I was very shocked to see Chris Curtis, who was a top middleweight for the longest time, opens as an underdog, plus 225, but he is taking on Mitabek Oralbai at a minus 278. I'm going Oralbai. The way he finished Jack Hermanson in his last fight by KO was crazy. I like Chris Curtis, but Chris Curtis better, man, I don't know, because Chris Curtis is good on the ground. I just think he doesn't pull the trigger enough. He doesn't throw enough combination punches, and if he's going to sit on the back foot and let Oralbai push the pace, he's going to get beaten. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Oralbai gets the win, possibly even by knockout. And if you want to bet knockout or stoppage, let's see, Oralbai by KO is plus 350, by submission is plus 350. So that's not a bad bet if you want to go prop bets on that one. Let's see. The next fight down is Bolojai Oki versus Manuel Souza. Souza is the favorite at minus 270. Oki is plus 220. I got to be honest, I don't really know either one of these guys. I can't even remember who they fought last. Let me see. Let me look at who Olabai has fought. So we have, Bolojai Oki is from Belgium. He just fought Mason Jones, who beat him. And then he came off the wins of Aswell Jr. and Chris Duncan, which is not a bad fight. Chris Duncan is a good fighter. Oh, Chris Duncan beat him. So he's 1-2 in his last 3. And Manuel Souza from Brazil, this is his debut fight in the UFC. So him coming in as a favorite in his debut fight, see. Sorry, guys, bear with me. So, yeah, Manuel Souza, on his debut fight in the UFC, is a minus 270 favorite. Man, they must know something. I'm going to go Souza on this one. And then the next one down, we have Luan Lacerda versus Hector Souza. Souza is the favorite at minus 238 from Spain. Oh, yeah, I do know this guy. So Hector Souza from Spain. Yes, take Hector Souza from Spain. He looked really nice in his last fight. I believe I saw him on a regional scene fight, and he looked good, like really good. He is the betting favorite. I'm going to go Souza on this one. And then the last one I'm going to go over, or no, two more I'm going to go over. The biggest betting favorite on this entire card is my girl, Beatriz Mesquita. Bia Mesquita, she opens at a minus 650, taking on Montserrat Rendon from Mexico. I wish I could go with Rendon because she's Mexicana, but I got to go Bia Mesquita. I did seminars with her. She's an awesome person, and she's a fucking animal in there. She is a multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, but man, in the octagon, she gets nasty with it. She's not like some of these other grapplers who come in and are just looking to get the fight to the mat and go to out-grappling positions. She will beat you up on the feet, she'll get you down, and then she'll beat you up on the ground. She had a beautiful knockout her last fight. She is minus 650 to win this fight. To win by knockout is plus 500. To win by submission is plus 100. I could see her taking down Montserrat Rendon and then pounding her out. Plus 500 is not a bad bet right here. And the submission on top of it. She's going to win by either one. She's either going to win by submission or knockout. I like Montserrat Rendon. She's a tough girl. But, I mean, there is levels to this game. And Bia Mesquita is on the top fucking level when it comes to the women's division. Like, mark my words, she will be making a run at the title in the very near future. I'm taking Bia Mesquita all day. And I would even go Bia Mesquita to win, Bia Mesquita to win by KO. And the over-under is 1.5. They even have the under is at plus 170. I'd probably even take the under on this fight, 1.5 rounds. So, yeah, Bia Mesquita is the lock of the entire card. So, you can parlay that however you want it with the win and the under or the win in the KO or the win in submission. I can see her getting it done all three type of ways. And the last fight I want to go over is the Piera Rodriguez from Venezuela. She's opening at minus 162 favorite over Sam Hughes. I really like Sam Hughes. She looked great. She had a dog fight her last fight and I think she won by KO in that fight. She's a plus 136. I'm going to go with the underdog on this fight, Sam Hughes. Piera Rodriguez, I think she's 2-1 in her last 3. Sam Hughes, I believe, is, let me look real quick. Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is 3-0 in her last 3. And she's opening as an underdog. I'm going to take Sam Hughes on this one. Piera Rodriguez, she's 2-1 in her last 3, so it's going to be a good contested fight. But I think Sam Hughes gets the win here. So that's it for the wrap up, the rundown for me today. It's a little bit earlier today. I had a doctor's appointment, so I was able to get that done early this morning, get home, look over some stuff that I've missed throughout the last 2 days, and get it out there. Primetime hours for you guys. Let me guys know what you think. Leave a comment. Hit the like. Hit the bell. Hit the subscribe. Watch fights. Drink pints. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.